Carl Jung discovered something terrifying about empaths. Most people think empaths are soft. They believe empaths will forgive anything. They assume empaths are doormats. Jung found the opposite. He found that empaths are the most dangerous personality type when you cross one specific line. This line is invisible. Most people do not see it until it is too late. Once you cross it, you are deleted. Not yelled at, not punished. Deleted. Empaths do not seek revenge. They do not need to. They simply remove you from their reality. Permanently. The question is this: what is the one emotional mistake that triggers this response? What pushes a super empath to shut the door forever? Jung did not use the term super empath, but he described this type clearly in his work. These are not just people who feel deeply. They are observers. They collect data on everyone around them. They watch how you behave when no one is looking. They notice patterns in your words and actions. They feel the energy in a room before anyone speaks. They know when something is wrong, even if you smile. They are walking lie detectors. But here is the dangerous part. They do not call you out immediately. They store the information. They wait. They give you chances. They hope you will prove them wrong. You think you are getting away with it. You think they believe your lies. They do not. They are building a file in their mind. Every inconsistency goes in the file. Every broken promise goes in the file. Every time you gaslight them, it goes in the file. The super empath operates on a different frequency than most people. While others take words at face value, the empath reads subtext. While others miss the small details, the empath catalogues them. A facial expression that does not match the words. A tone that carries hidden anger. A promise made easily and broken quietly. The empath sees all of it. They are not judging you. They are simply watching, collecting evidence, building understanding, and hoping desperately that their gut feeling is wrong. This is not paranoia. This is pattern recognition. It is a survival skill that has been sharpened over years. The empath has learned that people reveal themselves slowly, not through big moments, but through tiny cracks in the mask. And the empath never forgets what they see through those cracks. Now let me reveal the emotional mistake that causes permanent deletion. It is not a single insult. It is not one lie. It is not a bad day or a misunderstanding. The mistake is this: the systematic violation of authentic trust. What does that mean in simple terms? It means you make the empath question their own gut. You make them feel crazy for noticing things. You tell them they are too sensitive. You dismiss their feelings like they do not matter. You lie when they already know the truth. You betray them quietly, thinking they will not notice. You take advantage of their kindness. You twist their empathy into a weapon against them. You do it over and over. And here is your fatal assumption. You think they will never leave because they care too much. That is the mistake. You confuse their patience with weakness. You confuse their silence with blindness. You assume they will always be there no matter what you do. Jung explored this dynamic in his clinical work. He understood that gaslighting was one of the most damaging forms of harm. When you gaslight someone, you are not just lying. You are trying to destroy their sense of reality. Consider a pattern Jung observed repeatedly. A person comes to the empath with problems. The empath offers support and emotional labor, but something feels off. The stories do not add up. The person claims to want change, but sabotages every solution. They claim to value the relationship, but violate boundaries constantly. They say they are honest, but the empath catches them in small lies. When confronted, they deny everything. They twist the story. They make the empath feel guilty for even asking questions. This cycle repeats and repeats. The empath starts to doubt themselves. Maybe they are too suspicious. Maybe they are expecting too much. Maybe they are the problem. This internal war is exactly what the manipulator wants. because as long as the empath doubts themselves, they will not trust their gut. And gut instinct is the empath's greatest weapon. When you successfully make an empath doubt their intuition, something inside them breaks. But it does not break the way you think. When you gaslight an empath's intuition, something shifts. Jung described this through his concept of shadow integration. The shadow is the part of yourself you hide from the world. It is the anger, the coldness, the self-protection, the ability to cut people off without mercy. Most people suppress their shadow, empaths especially. They do not want to hurt anyone. They would rather hurt themselves than cause pain to others. But when trust is violated over and over, the shadow wakes up. It does not explode. It does not rage. It does not throw tantrums or make scenes. It simply decides. The empath stops protecting your feelings and starts protecting their reality. This is when the door slams shut. Jung recognized this as part of growth. It is when a person chooses themselves over a fake connection. The empath realizes something crucial. Keeping you in their life requires them to lie to themselves. It requires them to ignore their gut. It requires them to betray their own knowing, and that price is too high. This realization does not come easy. The empath fights it hard. They try to give you more chances. They try to see the good in you. They try to understand your side. They bend over backwards to make excuses for you. They tell themselves stories that make your actions seem less bad. Empaths aren't broken. They're alchemists in progress. The alchemist's path gives you drills, Jung-based boundaries, and 3 exclusive chapter videos to turn overwhelm into clarity. By Surreal Mind, 236-page downloadable ebook in stock. Begin now at thesurrealmind.com. They minimize their own pain. They gaslight themselves on your behalf. But there comes a moment when the evidence becomes too much, when the pattern becomes crystal clear, when staying hurts more than leaving. This is the moment of transformation. This is when the empathetic person becomes the powerful person. Not through aggression, not through revenge, through clarity, through removal. The empath sees the truth and accepts it fully. You're not who they hoped you were. You're not capable of the relationship they needed. You're not safe, and once they see this, they cannot unsee it. This is where the door slam mechanism kicks in. The super empath does not yell at you. They do not send angry texts. They do not tell everyone what you did. They do not create drama. They go quiet. They go cold. They disappear emotionally. You will notice it right away. The warmth is gone. The attention is gone. The effort is gone. You are talking to a wall now. The empath is present, but not connected. They respond, but with nothing real behind it. They are polite, but distant. You might think they are just upset and will get over it. You might think this is temporary. It is not. This is the door slam. It is a complete emotional shutdown. The empath has made a decision at the deepest level. You are no longer safe. You are no longer trustworthy. You are no longer worth the energy. And once that decision is made, it is carved in stone. There is no going back. Why is there no going back? Because the empath sees you now. They see who you really are under the mask. They see your patterns, your games, your selfishness, your lies, and they cannot unsee it. This is about perception. Jung explained that once you truly see something, you cannot unsee it. If you watch someone lie to your face while looking in your eyes, you cannot forget that. If you feel someone manipulate you while pretending to care, you cannot unfeel that. The empath's gut is their superpower. When you attack it repeatedly, you destroy the foundation. Trust is not just about being honest. It is about being seen accurately. When you gaslight an empath, you are telling them their vision is wrong. You are asking them to go blind. They will not do it. They would rather lose you than lose themselves. This is the cost of your betrayal. It is not about revenge. It is about survival. The empath knows that staying connected to you means staying disconnected from themselves. That math does not work. They have tried to make it work. They have twisted themselves into uncomfortable shapes. They have dimmed their light to make you comfortable. They have silenced their gut to keep the peace. They have sacrificed their truth to keep the connection alive. But now they understand something vital. The connection was never real. It was built on their work and your lies. It was kept alive by their hope and your manipulation. It was never balanced. It was never mutual. It was never safe. And they are done pretending. The shadow integration happens in stages. First, the empath notices something is wrong. Second, they confront it inside their own mind. They ask hard questions. Is this real? Am I imagining things? Why do I feel this way? Third, they test you. They give you chances to change, to be honest, to stop the gaslighting, to respect boundaries, to value their feelings. Most people fail this test badly. They double down. They get defensive when questioned. They blame the empath for being too sensitive. This is the final proof the empath needs. You will not change. You cannot be trusted. The door begins to close. Fourth, the shadow takes over. The kind part becomes neutral. The giving part becomes withholding. The forgiving part becomes final. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. The empath has learned to use their sensitivity as a shield instead of a bridge. They have learned that not everyone deserves access to their heart. They have learned that boundaries are not mean. They are necessary. They are the difference between connection and destruction. The empath now understands something powerful. Protecting themselves is not the same as hurting you. Saying no is not the same as being cold. Walking away is not giving up. It is choosing reality over fantasy. It is choosing health over habit. It is choosing themselves over the lie that you will ever change. Let me explain why this is unforgivable. Forgiveness requires hope. It requires belief that repair is possible, that change can happen, that trust can be rebuilt. The super empath has done the math. They have looked at your pattern of behavior. They have assessed the risk. The numbers do not work. Rebuilding trust with someone who gaslights you is impossible. Why? Because trust requires honesty. Gaslighting is the opposite of honesty. It is twisting reality on purpose for your own benefit. If someone will twist your reality to protect themselves, they will do it again. The empath knows this. They are not being stubborn. They are being realistic. Once you show an empath that you will lie to their face and make them question their own mind, you have shown them your core, and they believe what you showed them. This is where people make another fatal error. They think empaths are weak because they care deeply. They think empaths will always come back because they feel guilty. They think the empath's compassion can be used against them forever. But guilt only works if the empath still sees you as human. Once the door slams, you are no longer a person to them. You are a concept, a lesson, a boundary. You become proof of what they will never tolerate again. This is the power shift. The empath is no longer the victim. They are the authority now. They have decided your value, and they have decided you have none. This is not hate. Hate requires energy. This is indifference, and indifference is the opposite of love. It is the void where you used to exist in their world. Now let me show you what happens after the door slams. The person who crossed the line usually comes back. They always do. They reach out after some time. They apologize. They promise they have changed. They say they understand now. They beg for another chance. The empath does not respond with emotion, or they respond with short, empty words. Polite but cold. They are not being cruel. They are being protective. They have already processed this relationship in their mind. They have already grieved it. They have already moved on. The person gets confused by this reaction. They say things like, "You used to care so much. What happened?" What happened is simple and brutal. The empath stopped lying to themselves. They stopped pretending you were someone you are not. They stopped hoping you would become who they needed. They accepted reality as it is. And reality is this: you are not safe. The aftermath is where the true power shows. The person who crossed the line will try different tactics. They will try guilt. They will say the empath is cold and heartless. They will say the empath is holding a grudge. They will say the empath is being unfair and dramatic. They will remind the empath of good times. They will make promises about a better future. They will try to use the empath's own empathy as a weapon. None of it works anymore. The empath has integrated their shadow. They are immune to these tricks now. They have learned that protecting their peace matters more than protecting your feelings. They have learned that their gut is sacred. They have learned that people who gaslight are dangerous. And they have learned to value themselves more than they value fake connection. This is the ultimate punishment. Not anger, not revenge, not drama, indifference. You cease to matter. Your words have no weight. Your presence has no impact. Your apologies fall into emptiness. You are simply irrelevant now. Jung believed that growth required integrating opposites: light and dark, good and bad, empathy and detachment, compassion and boundaries. The super empath who slams the door has completed a critical stage of growth. They have learned to balance caring with self-preservation. They have learned that boundaries are not walls. They are filters that protect what is sacred. They have learned that not everyone deserves their energy. This makes them stronger. It makes them wiser. It makes them selective about who gets close. And it makes them powerful. Because now they know their worth. They know their limits. And they know the cost of ignoring their gut. They will never pay that price again. The person who was cut off will often feel genuinely confused. They will say, "I thought empaths were forgiving." They are forgiving. But forgiveness does not mean reconnection. This is the part most people do not understand. Forgiveness means letting go of anger. It means releasing the need for revenge. It means wishing you well from far away. It does not mean letting you back in. The super empath can forgive you completely and still never speak to you again. These two things are not opposites. Forgiveness is internal. Reconnection is relational. One does not require the other. The empath has forgiven you by deciding you are no longer their problem. They have released you from their worry. But they have also released the fantasy that you will ever be trustworthy. That door is closed. The lock has been changed. The address has been deleted. This brings us to the climax. The person who made the mistake finally realizes the truth. The empath is not coming back. This is not a test. This is not temporary. This is the end. They start to panic. They escalate. They try harder to get a response. They might get angry at being ignored. They might accuse the empath of being cruel. They might try to turn mutual friends against the empath. They might spread stories painting themselves as the victim. None of it matters. Why does none of it matter? Because the empath is no longer emotionally invested. They have detached completely. They have moved their energy to other places. The person is shouting into empty space. The empath has already built a new life. A life where this person does not exist. A life where boundaries are respected. A life where gut feelings are honored. A life where they do not have to question their own reality. You are not part of that life. You never will be again. The final resolution is this: the super empath has won, not by destroying you, not by seeking revenge, not by proving a point to anyone, but by choosing themselves, by protecting their reality, by honoring their truth. This is the most powerful form of self-love. It is refusing to dim your light for someone who wants you in the dark. It is refusing to doubt yourself for someone who benefits from your confusion. It is refusing to stay small for someone who fears your growth. The empath has stepped into their power, and that power is quiet. It is calm. It is certain. It does not need to prove anything. It simply exists. The door is closed. The chapter is over. The lesson is learned. And the empath moves forward, lighter and stronger than before. So, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt this switch flip inside you? Have you ever reached that point of no return, where you stopped fighting and started walking away? Where you stopped explaining and started protecting? That moment is sacred. It is the moment you choose yourself over someone else's comfort. It is the moment you integrate your shadow. It is the moment you become whole. If you have felt this, you know exactly what Jung was describing. You know the power of the door slam. You know the peace that comes with indifference. And you know that some mistakes cannot be forgiven because they require you to betray yourself. The super empath will never do that again. They have learned the lesson. They have grown. They have evolved. And they are never going back. Value your boundaries like they are sacred ground. Trust your gut, even when others say it is wrong. Protect your peace above everything else. And remember this truth. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. Not everyone has earned your trust. And not everyone will understand when you walk away. That is perfectly fine. Your job is not to make them understand. Your job is not to convince them you were right. Your job is to honor yourself, to stay true to your inner knowing, to never doubt your own gut for someone else's comfort. You are not too sensitive. You are not asking for too much. You are not crazy for noticing patterns. You are awake, and that is powerful beyond measure. In the alchemist's path, perception training for empaths, you'll turn overwhelm into wisdom with practical drills, Jung-inspired boundaries, and step-by-step perception training. This guide includes 3 exclusive chapter videos to deepen each lesson. Written by Surreal Mind, 236 pages, beautifully designed 8.5 by 11 downloadable ebook, in stock now. Start your training today. Feel deeply while thinking clearly. Get the Alchemist's Path at thesurrealmind.com.